Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. No surprise. Yet again, another beautiful, harmonious day, right? Radiant with the great brethren sun's powerful energy, right? Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, another wonderful day, right? In the new high vibrational frequency paradigm. All right, we hear the birds chiming in. You know, all the animals, birds and whatnot. Nature has been for quite some time now on a high vibrational frequency resonance, right? 5D in it, if you will. Humanity just got to catch up, that's all. And we well on the way. We're well on the way, right? So, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful start to a new day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual awakenings, but I wanted to be a little more personal and talk about my spiritual awakening, right? Which I have done in previous videos, just a little bit. But I'll talk a little bit more about that. But in general, you hear a lot of people talk and mention they'll describe our current paradigm as a matrix, right? Or more commonly, as of late, you'll hear folks referring to it as a simulation, right? And you know, I get that. You know, I don't view it as a simulation as much as a manifestation, right? And even that is not the most accurate description, but that I don't want to go off on a whole nother tangent. So anyway, I do get the reference to a simulation because when you go through a spiritual awakening, and a lot of people's experience has been like this, not again, it can be different vastly for everyone, right? Not everyone's experience is going to be the same by any stretch. But what a lot of people have experienced is that it's sort of like if you're using VR goggles, virtual reality goggles, right? That this reality that we're living in, this realm of existence, if you want to call it that, is like the virtual reality you see when you have the goggles on. And when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's literally like taking the goggles off and you know, functioning in the real world, right? So I get the reference. You know, I really do. I get the reference. It is very much like that, right? In terms of it can be very much like that in terms of the experience. But for me, it's slightly different. And if you'll notice, I say it's as in it is because I am often able to experienced um, that state, right? So when it first happened, um, was very, I don't want to say unnerving or alarming because those are the wrong words, I think. It was very unexpected. Um, Certainly unprecedented, right? I never had anything like that happen to me before. And it was difficult to really quantify. I mean, as it was happening, it was literally difficult for me to say, okay, what exactly is going on with me right now? Right? Like, what am I experiencing? And because you have no reference for it, right? But, okay, I had been leading up to this having a lot of very interesting experiences, like things coming to me out of nowhere. And I just grab a pen and paper and start jotting it down. And looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, what is out of nowhere? I just started jotting down stuff about, you know, hum, early human being cellular structure and what, our energetic form was, and things that I really didn't necessarily build on. I wasn't really big on metaphysics or anything in that realm whatsoever, right? I had always been sort of your, you know, in the line of the typical sort of African-centered um, literature, like some of the greats, Sheikh Anta Diop, uh, 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 Bobby E. Wright, and and the list goes on. Um, um, Certainly one of my heroes, right? Frances Cress Welsing, you know, powerful woman. Um, so that was pretty much what I was working with, and I didn't get a lot into our energetic makeup and what that meant on a multi-dimensional level or spiritual level or anything like that. So I just had no reference to relate to what I was going through, what I was experiencing, right? And I apologize. I'm a bit thirsty and could use a drink, and don't have one at the moment. I am out in. I'm not complaining. I'm certainly out in the beauty outdoors here. Um, I love being around trees and in the outdoor environment with the sun just beaming on you. It's wonderful. So I'll take that. I'll take a little dryness with that, a little dry mouth with that. Pardon me, folks. So anyway, um, yeah, it was a very interesting lead up to this experience. So many things were happening. I was meeting people, having very strange interactions with them, conversations that seemed like I was talking to another worldly an otherworldly being of some sort, right? Like I was talking to an angel, or at times I was talking to some form of a demon or a devil, depending on who I was speaking to or interacting with. That's what these conversations felt like. And quite honestly, at the time, while I didn't have or ascribe to any one particular religion, I did sort of meld them all together, right? And used them for pretty much the basis of my cumulative belief, right? And, there's certainly still things that I can draw from or you know, lessons to reference or different points of light and that I can draw from those disciplines and their associated scriptures or texts, right? But for the most part, I don't really have much of anything to do with religion whatsoever or their control systems or doctrines, right? Um, at all. But then I still view things at least partially through that sort of a lens, right? So I kind of went there with it. Like, all right, am I, is this, what's going on? Is this like a prelude to the end of the world or something? Or plus, I think a lot of us have had sort of end time thoughts on our minds in the past decade, right? And I was no exception. So I'm going there with it. But still not really understanding what why was I personally experiencing this, right? And anyway, a lot of different strange things leading up to this experience, um, and some factors that I would just personally ascribe to my lifestyle at the time, right? Like I was Ubering and jitneying at the same time. Jitneying is like unlicensed cab driving in the city of Pittsburgh. I don't know what it's referred to in a lot of other cities, right? If you have it. I'm sure they do. So, yeah, I was Ubering and jitneying at the same time, just grinding, right? For various reasons. Um, not all. In retrospect, the best motivations, most of them, good motive, good intentions. But anyway, uh, constantly grinding, driving a lot. I mean, a lot, and starting to have difficulty with the night driving in terms of staying awake. So I was guzzling coffee, right? So I'm pumped up on caffeine most of the time, never having a sufficient night's sleep. Was my physical, condition at the time that all this was leading up to this. So one night, typical, set up, grinding, driving all day, and I come to a point probably about 2:30, quarter to 3, where I called a night and I'm heading on in, which was actually an early night for me. I usually didn't get in until maybe 4:30, or if at all, maybe not until the next morning sometime, right? So I'm in, and I just felt different, right? I felt like my energy level was weird. Yeah, I was drinking coffee, but I still was just like I couldn't sleep at all. I was very up. Um, my mind was racing, like from subject to subject, very quickly, not incoherently at all, right? Actually, kind of impressively, like I was processing a lot of information very quickly for some reason. This is just what I was doing. Um, Even while I was sitting in front of the TV and sort of half watching the TV, my mind was still constantly racing, right? And I started looking up stuff on YouTube. And I remember looking up, I have a little bit of a background in anime, watching it, that is. And I liked certain things, like, the Dragon Ball Z, the Fist of the North Star type stuff. I kind of dig that, right? At least for different reasons, probably than most. But anyway, uh, anybody who's familiar with how online they do these simulated like battles, right? Some of them, like, for example, there was a hypothetical battle I looked up between Superman, or rather Superman 1 million Prime, right? Superman in his ultimate form versus Goku in his ultimate form at the time, Ultra Instinct, I believe. If you're not into this stuff, this is going to get boring, because you don't, you're like, all right, that means absolutely nothing to me, whatever. What are you talking about? But this is what I looked up. So anyway, I had never seen this before, but it popped into my mind to look this up for some reason. And it literally had me, I don't know, sort of just captured for a minute in this epic struggle, right, between these two powerhouses. And it caused me to my mind to not race quite as much. So I enjoyed it for that reason as well. So anyway, that kept my focus for a while. And then all of a sudden, as soon as it was over, it was I think it was 3:30. It may have even been 3:33. I'm not sure. But right at that moment, something really weird happened. I'm sitting there, like, wide awake, right? And everything just sort of fades to black. Literally, like, my vision goes away, but doesn't, like, all of it fades out. And I'm still awake. I don't feel funny, like I've passed out or I'm in harm, my body's not right or anything like that. I'm fine, but everything is black, right? And I had this incredible thought that I was in control of my reality. It was an overwhelming, it wasn't even a thought, it was an awareness. It was like, I know it to be, right? And then I had a fearful thought that was, if you focus enough right now, you're going to end everything. It'll all be over. And I started having fearful thoughts of losing, like, my family and my loved ones and whatnot. I was like, no, why is my mind going here? And I was still sort of in this place, just, I guess you could say, mentally, right? But again, physically, I could not see. It was literally a fade to black. Like, and I mean pitch black. When I say black, I don't mean like the room was dark and or even like how you shut your eyes and there might be a light in the distance. And no, it was complete void of any light. And it felt very comfortable, right? very comfortable. And except for that thought really disturbed me. It bothered me to the point that I really wanted to focus to get out of this state, right? Because I felt like, no, stop. I don't want to end this yet. Stop. And this is literally the thought that I was sort of battling at the time, right? And as I focused, I sort of regained normal vision, okay? And I came out of that state, so to speak. But I noticed I felt different physically now. Like my body literally felt like it was vibrating, like a lot. Like really, like my whole body was just not shaking, not like a nervous shake, like when your hand's shaky. It wasn't like that. It was literally vibrating, like how you would feel if you know, I know like at Kennywood, our local amusement park here in Pittsburgh, we had this little thing you would get on and you'd step on, the floor would be like vibrating, you know, in one spot, but would make your body feel the vibration, right, as you walk across it. So that's similar to how I felt, but stronger. So anyway, I got up and I just felt like I needed to walk around a bit. And as I'm walking around the house, again, except for the vibration, I felt fine. You know, I had regained my normal vision and awareness and all that. But I had this extreme vibration, and as I began to walk around, everything seemed almost dreamlike. It seemed like I was viewing reality in sort of from a panoramic view. Might be a good way to describe it. It was very strange. But it's not like it made me feel wobbly or dizzy or anything like that. I just felt like that was my viewpoint was, it was just different for some reason, right? My field of vision. That along with the vibration was very strange. Again, it didn't throw me off in terms of like I can't cope with this or anything of that nature. It just felt very weird. But again, the only thing that was unsettling to me was that thought I had, right? That I was literally capable of ending existence. Now, in retrospect, I understand what that was about. Again, what do I say? And have I said in many videos? We're always manifesting our reality, whether it is on a conscious level or a subconscious level. I'll pause. Right, we're always manifesting our reality, whether it's on a conscious level or a subconscious level, right? So, at that moment, I had become aware of my ability to manifest. Acutely aware of it, but I didn't understand it. See, I didn't have the benefit of all the study and research that I've done since then. I didn't have the benefit of all the hours of meditation, of charging up in the sun, and all the dietary change, all the different the complete lifestyle change that I've had. I didn't have the benefit of that then. So I fell back on what we're trained ultimately to fall back on, which is our fear of the unknown. And that fear particularly that fearful thought really, like I said, was unsettling to me. And I was having to work to not have that thought, to try and sort of put it out of my head, right? So to describe a little bit more about the state that I was in, being able to reflect on it now with more insight, more experience, more knowledge, right? The pitch black state, right, was kind of like what is referred to in, and I'll borrow from my 5% brethren, sister, right? And that was triple stage darkness, right? Not just the 5%, the nation and many other disciplines acknowledge that, which is the pure blank slate from which we create. Now, you tie that in metaphysically with what we now understand about quantum physics, and we understand that that is what essentially dark matter is, right? And this is what I mean when I say we create our reality. We, with our electromagnetic field that we emit, right, are emitting a signal to the dark matter of the universe constantly, right? It's part of your existence. You're emitting this signal. You're emitting this bioelectric field, this electromagnetic field. And along with it comes that signal you're emitting. And that signal is literally your direction, your instructions to the universe as to what reality you desire to experience. Right? So when you are in that state, you are then aware, acutely aware of your ability to do this. Now, you have the opportunity from that point, at that state, to consciously manifest. Right? And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand what I had attained. I was afraid of what I had attained. But now looking back on it, obviously I understand it, right? Or overstand, however you want to put it. I perceive exactly what I was going through, what I was experiencing, with a great level of comprehension, right? So much so that I have experienced that state several times since then. And it has been a completely different experience, right? One such time, I entered that state through meditation. We'll say meditation / prayer, right? And I was also absorbing and charging up solar energy at the time. And again, everything went black, right? And this time, I knew what was going on, or I had some concept of what was going on. So I approached it with more of an inquisitive nature, I think, at this point. And I embraced it quite differently. I was all about self-analyzation at this point, right? When I was experiencing, I was like, okay, how did I do this? Right? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What is my environment like? All that. I was all really just about understanding how in the world I had attained this state. Again, so I just absorbed all of that and sort of mentally cataloged it, right? And that was pretty much the bulk of the experience. Like, I didn't attempt to create or manifest anything or to do any like astral, traveling or anything of that nature. Although I felt like in that state, all of those things were completely possible. And it was not that I thought about it, like I wonder if, it was an acute awareness that all of these things were possible and so much more. It's hard to explain it. It's not that I was thinking these things or that I was pondering on these things. I was actually aware of it. It was on a level that a lot of people don't talk about now, but again, quantum science and how quantum science relates to human physiology gets us to understand something we really have not delved into much, and that's our innate, right? Our innate nature. And it felt like this was part of my innate nature, this awareness that I knew I had these capabilities, that this was all within the realm of possibility for me. I just knew it. I didn't attempt to do anything, but I remember that much. I just was aware of it. Okay? So, again, I continued to examine myself and things of that nature. And that was pretty much the bulk of what that experience was like. And then another time, I had been sun gazing, right? And I was in the backyard. I was over at my family's house, and I was in the backyard. It was in the morning, or rather the early day. Bad habit. It was in the early day, and like I said, I had been sun gazing and meditating a little bit, and then all of a sudden, and I felt great. It was, typically I do feel great when I wake up, right? Literally about every day. But I really felt just so balanced and very in tune